Hello and welcome back to another Dynamic Duo podcast. Today, as Kanan Wolf, it is MMA King Crease Jr. For fuck's sake, it's actually the right way. Oh, damn. But today we're going down to a very special movie in our hearts. Something that starts with Mortal Kombat! So, if you don't know the 1995 movie Mortal Kombat, well, where the hell you been? Because it was one of the best, worst adaptations of a video game movie. This one was actually the okay one. Like, this was bearable. Let's just get straight into the video. So, if you don't have a backstory on this movie, there is a star-studded cast of one Mr. Highlander. I don't actually know the actor's name. I just know he was a Highlander in the Highlander movies. Um, he is Raiden. You know, we have a bunch of other actors in this that I don't really remember half their names. Not gonna lie, because it's been a while since I even looked at their names. So, but if you're a big fan of Mortal Kombat, you should know this movie came out in 1995 and it was fun, it was stupid, but at the same time, back then a lot of things were not the best. So how about yourself, Danny? What are some of your thoughts, some of your opinions on this older movie?
Man, listen, I'm gonna tell you guys straight up. If you guys were young, and if you were in the '90s, you loved playing Mortal Kombat, even though you were not supposed to. Like, you always had that older sister or older brother that will hook you the hell up, man, on that game. Just the fact that we got a movie, that was even an amazing part in itself. Because not gonna lie, like it took me until I was like about a teenager just to watch this movie because my parents were so strict on what you can watch when I was younger. So like I couldn't watch Mortal Kombat like when I was younger. So I got to watch it when I was like 12 or 13 years old. So
Mm,
yeah, man, it's not the best movie. It's not the best video game adaptation. It's really hard to do video game adaptations, but this one is
yeah.
a solid story and it's a solid watch because you want to know where they this movie gets its inspiration from. This movie right here, which we got to cover down the line.
Yeah.
Adam, Mister Enter the Dragon, for all you Bruce
Yes.
Lee fans. This movie is this movie. Like there is like a lot of comparisons in this movie. Kumote, foreigner trying to figure out what the problem is, trying to save the world, secret agent type of stuff. You got foreigners, like he has a foreigner best friend. You got a failed movie star up in here. And you
Mhm.
also got a love interest in here too. So bada bing, bada boom. These two right here, both
Yeah.
are worth the watching, my man.
I feel bad, but now I can correct myself. It's Christopher Lambert that is Lord Raiden. Um, Bridget Wilson Sapraz is Sonya Blade. I'm also pretty sure she was in some sort of like Adam Sandler movie at one point. Um,
Yeah.
Also, we have Lyndon Ashby as Johnnycage, which is ironic because he went on to star in the fucking Teen Wolf series, which if anybody knows, I'm a big fan of that. So there you go. There is some
Hmm.
good names in here. Obviously, the rest of them, they're just like one-off movie actors. Like some of them came back for the second, some didn't. But for me, watching this movie, what I remember the most, right, it's one of these things where they had to make up a backstory more for Kung Lao. So obviously they decided. Well, Liukang, sorry, Liukang.
You meant
Um,
I was say Liu Kang, man, Liu Kang. Like
Liukang, yeah,
you
yeah,
already know the
yeah.
Mortal Kombat nerds are in the comment section. What did you say? Like,
Sorry. It's been a while, and to be fair, their names are not that fucking different. Anyway, moving on. No,
uh-oh.
I like Liu Kang for me in this movie. Like, obviously, they had to give him more of a backstory. So, he trains at the temple. His brother gets demolished by the main man himself, Shangtsung, and obviously, everybody's like, "Oh, are you going to avenge your brother? You're going to avenge your brother." So in this one, it's not like any other one. They get the Earth realm people get picked by Raiden the Master himself. But obviously,
Hmm.
Kung Lao has to earn his spot, obviously, just like everybody else. But obviously, we get Johnny Cage, we get Sonya Blade, we get a good like majority of the cast in this one. I don't think Jax was in this one, though, was he?
Jax was in the second one in Annihilation.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that.
and
I thought that this one is the one
that
that
one
he
is gonna be
didn't
a tough
fucking.
one to get through, man.
Oh,
That's
did
gonna
you?
be a tough one.
One thing that I will say that I did like about this is there's so many things from the games that you finally got to see in a realistic setting. You know, you finally got
Hmm.
get over here, and still to this day, I don't care how cheesy it is. It's one of my favorite scenes from this movie. You know, one of my other favorite
Yeah,
movie scenes is when you see Goro for some strange reason. He's just like
yeah,
weird. Like the CGI is fucking terrible. Like it's not even really CGI.
yeah,
It's more animatronics, like you know the old style
yeah,
stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it looked fucking terrible back then, you know. But
yeah,
it is what it is. I cannot do anything about that. That's just how it is. But one thing that I will say is that a lot of this movie is just dumb fun. Like liukang's story is very nice. You know, it's him
oh
trying to get
yeah,
revenge on his for his brother. You know, Johnnycage is the wise, cracking dumbass that we've always loved. Sonya Blade is just a
yeah,
badass chick. Kano's in here. Kano is always funny. I always think that they could never cast a bad Kano. You know, if you watch the reboot or whatever the fuck it was back in like 2018, you know, we got
he was
Kano
funny.
who also done a wee shout out to Cobra Kai here. Also was in Cobra Kai as a surfer dude, which I find quite funny. But the one character they don't seem to get wrong is Kano. I'm trying to think. Subzero is in the movie, but you know he's kind of just used as a lackey sort of in this movie. He's never really got a
Yeah,
like deeper plot line. It's more just a guy to get beaten up in a fight scene. Um,
Ye-
obviously, well, one thing that I will touch upon is obviously how they get to the place where they're fighting. Is that Raiden just basically goes Noah's Ark on everybody and goes, right, get on my fucking boat. We're going. That's it. This is my Earth champions. Let's go. We're on our way. So I like that part, but there's not a lot of stuff about this movie I could hate on. Like, yeah, some of the stuff does it hold up? Probably not. It's probably still cringy. It was cringy
yeah,
for its time, even back then. But I have a special
yeah.
place for my for this movie in my heart because it's the first time Mortal Kombat got his iconic theme tune. And they didn't use it properly again in a video game until like just recently, which made my day because it was like the movie gave it such a sick theme song. Everybody knows that theme is the Mortal Kombat theme, even though they didn't watch the movie. It's just a theme song that is
Yeah.
such a thing that stood the test of time.
Choose your
Even this
fighter.
legitimately, I've heard so many remixes of it. I've heard techno remixes, and hell, I'm not even a big fan of techno, but if it's this song, I'll listen to one because it's that good. Another
Yeah.
thing that I would also point out about this movie is that please don't take it seriously when you go back and rewatch it because you know there is parts of it that are actually really deep and meaningful, but obviously it was dated. It's always going to be dated. So, Danny, how about you? What are some of your favorite scenes? What are the things that stuck out to you whilst watching this movie?
So I do like the scenes with Johnny Cage because Johnny Cage is freaking hilarious. The way how he beat Goro is like he kicked him in the
Mm,
nuts, and that was like really one of his iconic fighting moves in the game. I thought that was
mm,
freaking hilarious. Also, the fact that he managed to beat Scorpion,
mhm.
that was like a upset in itself. What else? I think he fought Sub-Zero too. Like Johnny Cage actually had had the hardest way to the tournament. To be honest with you, if you want to keep it a book, while Luke
Oh, yeah,
Kane is doing
definitely.
his thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sonya, she
Johnny
was doing good. Not bad with Sonya. Um, interesting female character. That's not a girl
actually a
boss or
badass
anything
and
like
doesn't
that.
have to pretend she's one, you know, just a
Yeah.
strong female character. Because obviously in this movie they do
Yeah.
borrow the like storyline of her like squad mate got taken out by Kano and they have a big rivalry in this movie. She tries to squish him with her
Yeah.
thighs and stuff, the fan service sort of stuff.
Yeah, they kept it with this movie. You can say that they try to keep it as close to the game as much as they could, or
Mhm.
whatever, because they couldn't, since it's PG-13, they couldn't make it rated R because like if they made it rated R, then like I think not because you got to remember back in the day, people didn't like Mortal Kombat because it was this don't you get it? This is evil. This is evil. Your kids are going to be very violent when they grow up and watch this. Oh well, I grew up and I wasn't violent. I didn't like try to kill nobody or any of. I mean, self delete anybody, like when I grew up and when I watched Mortal Kombat or played Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat
I
or
remember
any
that
of
stuff
that.
like it was yesterday, man. Like,
It,
oh, if you watch Mortal Kombat, if you play GTA, if you do this, your kid's going to be violent. Done all of those things. I'm the least violent man on earth. And I think it's just, it was one of those times where, like, we believe in God, but, Christianity and, like, like all different versions of it were running rampant, and everybody was like, it's going to turn you to Satan and your kids to Satan. And it's like, well, no, not really. Like, it's up to the
not really.
individual if they're going to do that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a like just a follower of Christ and everything. Like, hey, like I said, not a violent person. Like, far from it and everything. Like, you can
Yeah.
really argue me playing Mortal Kombat can be out of trouble. Like,
Yeah, no, that's the thing, like, people always like to blame violent video games. If a person like that is gonna do it, they're already gonna do it. It doesn't matter what they listen to, it doesn't matter what they're playing. At that point in time, they're already gone. You can't save them from that. So, anyway, other than the politics stuff, the
yeah,
thing to me about this movie is that it's just cheesy fun. I remember watching this as a
yeah,
kid. I know everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, you shouldn't be watching it as a child." It's like it's a PG-13, dude. Like, chill out. Like, it was normal watching
yeah,
stuff at that age. Like, I was watching a lot of things from a young age, and it didn't screw me up and it didn't muck me up. I'm still a
yeah.
reasonable adult, so it's just one of those things. But one of the things that I'm going to do is rate this movie very, very highly. To me, even though this is a terrible movie, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. And that's simply because one, it's a game that I've always loved. Two, it was actually a
Mhm.
decent like adaptation of the thing. I never hated it. I never understood the hate for it. Like, for me specifically speaking, like, yeah, obviously it's not going to be perfect of a live adaptation, but nothing is. The only one we ever got really was Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, and that was about it. Ever since then, we've not had a good adaptation other than maybe some Batman stories and a few other like things I may have never watched. So as people need to remember, like, this was in a time where we're getting horrible movies about games like Doom with a rock in it, and it's like, what the hell is the rock doing in Doom? It makes no sense. But okay, fair enough. You know, we were getting a lot of bad video game movies, so this one compared to the ones that we were getting are actually very good, and I would suggest that this is probably the best one from back then for me, because the characters were stuck to the characters. There was not much things that they could have added, in my opinion. Yeah, Sub-Zero does take a kind of backseat, but to be fair, Sub-Zero gets a lot of shine in other movies, even in the new one, like him and Scorpion are basically like the basis of it. So it's like, for me, I didn't really
Yeah,
mind that more so because, to be fair, Sub-Zero is an interesting character, but they didn't really have a lot of backstory for him until the later on games anyway. So it makes sense where
yeah.
this is 1995. This is roughly about like Mortal Kombat, what, 3
It's
maybe?
just the beginning of the Laurel. It's just
Yeah,
the beginning
so
of the Laurel.
like, there's nothing they can do about it. So, that's the way I see it, Danny. So how about yourself? What would you rate this movie?
Well, first I gotta say, Shao Kahn, like your soul belongs to me. Like
Me.
you gotta at least you gotta at least have that in there, like just to
Yeah.
Okay, so my ranking, I will have to say once again, your soul belongs to me. Uh, I have to say, nostalgia wise, I'll give it like an 8.
The
Today
iconic
maybe a
8 out of
7.
10.
Of course, you know what? Going back to formula. But shout out to Ryan Kendall for that 8 out of 10. That's where I actually got it from. He's a
Mm.
goat. Uh, but yeah, definitely. That's how I feel about this one. About this movie for Mortal Kombat. Like, I still love it. Every once in a while when I get bored, I'll pop it on. It's one of those Saturday movies that you just throw on or whatever. Like if you're trying to clean up the house or whatever, and like once you're finished doing your chores, you just watch the rest of it type of movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my ranking for it. Yeah,
See, for me, the one thing that we need to touch upon before we wrap this lovely video up is the end scene when Liukang absolutely destroys Shang and kicks him into the spike. To this day, I think that's one of the most badass fight sequences I've seen in a movie
yeah.
for a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure. That part, the final fight when he's facing uh the main villain is
Shang Tsung.
Shang Sun, man, y'all guys get it and everything. Like y'all guys get it. Shang Shun, yeah. He that part was pretty dope. Like basically how he does his finishing move, and then they just do the ending of finish him. Oh, and then he
Yeah.
just falls down and then his body withers up like a raisin, and then and then
Yep.
at the end, like they have their little fairy tale ending. So
Yeah.
sort of. So
Yeah. So before we wrap this all up, make sure you subscribe, make you sure you punch that like button, do all the lovely things. Share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers, share it with your family, share it with your dog. We don't mind. But anyway, Danny, the post credit scene this week is
So, okay, we're still gonna be in this universe, but all of a sudden, like, as soon as the new villain pops up, like the whole entire cast changed. I don't know, maybe they were low on the budget. It is what it
oh
is.
yeah,
We're
this
still in
is
the
when we
same
get
universe, just a lower
Ajax.
budget.
This is when we get Ajax for the Warriors coming in out of nowhere, and everybody's like, "Wait, why is Ajax here? Like, isn't he not arrested on a park bench somewhere?"
It is what it is, man. But we're still
Yeah,
going to be in the Mortal Kombat universe. So you guys just better have annihilation, and you guys have a great day, right?
yeah. But anyway, I have been Kanan Wolf. That has been MMA King Chris Jr., and we shall see you guys and the next dynamic duo.